Mr. President, can you tell us a couple of details? Until now, Allianz-TIRIAC has put its stake on profit, on profitable growth more than market growth, let's say, market share. Is that approach going to keep up, or you're going to try to change it in something else?
Well, from our perspective, delivering profitability towards our shareholders, it's a commitment which is given from our side towards, as a company, towards our shareholders. In this case, both our shareholders, Allianz as well as TIRIAC. And for us, it is something that is quite important because it defines really the financial strength and stability of the company. And this is something that will continue to be an important part of our business strategy. Of course, as a company, we have been concerned with the overall profitability of the Romanian market over the last few years. But we continue to streamline our operations to be able to generate the level of profit which is expected by our shareholders, which is to basically deliver profit above the cost of capital. And that ensures that we do not have to go back to our shareholders to request for capital for day-to-day business, but we can sustain our own business and also have the flexibility to invest in our own development, in our people, in our sales channels, new products, new projects. And from that perspective, of course, profitability is going to be quite key going forward also for Allianz-TIRIAC.
Can you give us a little bit more details on targets you have in terms of profitability until the end of this year? You're looking at a specific figure, let's say?
Well, this year is especially difficult because of a lot of the changes from the economic perspective. Also, some of the, let's say, austerity measures which were taken by the government has had an impact which overall will have an impact on our plans because we have now the VAT increase in the middle of the year, which was not planned for, and that will have an impact overall on our profits. We also had some, let's say, nat cat claims coming from the floods, which also had certain impact, and a few other factors which make it difficult this year to predict. In terms of the level of profitability, we will also have to adjust our level of profitability in line with the overall evolution of the business volumes, because if the business volumes are lower, we expect that will also have a certain impact on the profitability. So even though we have certain plans which we have committed, we hope to be able to deliver a certain level of profitability, but it's very difficult to predict whether it will be at the higher or lower level, but we expect to be profitable at the end of the year.
You said a little bit earlier about the crisis. How did the crisis affect Allianz-TIRIAC in particular as a company and activity on the Romanian market?
Well, of course, we had an impact on our top line. We had due to the economic crisis, we had a decline in the car sales, also in the leasing business. We have seen that the car sales have dropped by more than a quarter this year, and that has had an automatic impact on our portfolio, on our top line. Consequently, we have had to adjust some of the things we are doing as part of our business activity. We also had to sympathize with some of our clients and the situation they face. We had to take a look at our product portfolio to review whether our products were in line with the crisis environment. Did we need to adjust some of the products in line with our clients' ability to buy? And we have to be honest that some of the behavior of the clients have changed as a result of the crisis. So we have had to make some adjustments to our product portfolio. We have also had to keep a constant focus on our costs to make sure that we have a tight control in order to be able to deliver the level of profitability we expect. At the same time, we have continuously looked at our business processes to ensure that we can improve the efficiency and the productivity to be able to deliver the same level of service and quality that our clients expect, but of course within the current environment that we are and within the certain level of cost efficiency that we can afford in this environment.
So these are just a couple of measures you've taken in this aspect.
Yes.
What about the position on the market? Basically, Allianz-TIRIAC has a history of being first on the Romanian insurance market, and now it seems that after the first quarter results and the second quarter results, Astra seems to be the leader now, and Allianz went to the second position. How can you comment on that? Is it harder to sell being the second? Or do you have plans to be the first in a couple of months again?
Let's put it this way. I mean, for us, we are only in the middle of the year right now, and we still have the rest of the year to go, and we will see how finally the year turns out or shapes up. For us, also being the market leader, it's not just a question of boosting the top line. When we view ourselves as a market leader, we view ourselves as a market leader in a range of factors. And for us, for example, the brand of Allianz-TIRIAC is an extremely strong brand which defines certain standards, which defines certain quality, which defines certain expectation the clients have towards us. In also terms of what we offer our clients, what kind of promises we make, and what we can deliver. It also has a certain reputation. The reputation is also enhanced by our financial strength, our stability and our guarantee, not only towards our clients, but also to the overall Romanian market, towards a regulator, towards our shareholder, in terms of how we are able to cope with our own financial strength in the crisis. And I think when clients are looking to buy, they look at all of these aspects. I mean, just the ability to sell is not simply, let's say, defined by boosting up sales in a big way, but also the other values as a company we offer to our clients. And I think in these values, Allianz-TIRIAC is still the leader in the market, will continue to be the leader in the market. And I think that will be reflected in the trust our customers have, who will come back and who we see even in these last few months, who have actually come back in a range of different product lines, have bought our products, and continue to be satisfied with the services we offer. So from that perspective, we remain very confident that we will be the market leader in the market going forward.
I would suggest you to go to some details of Allianz-TIRIAC's business. You mentioned a little bit earlier about the VAT increase. From 19% to 24%. And you said it's going to have a major impact, let's say, on Allianz-TIRIAC's business. Can you comment more on that, please?
For sure. I mean, at the end, the increase in the VAT will, of course, have a certain impact on the overall costs, which we as a company have to encounter on a day-to-day basis. But that is not the biggest driver, being honest with you. The biggest driver is coming on the claim side. And on the claim side, we being a major motor insurer, we also, of course, have to pay higher claims costs coming from the motor claims, the spare parts, the labor, and a range of other activities that we have to settle the claim towards our customers. And of course, all of these costs have increased, and that will have a direct impact on our results in terms of increasing claims costs. We try to, of course, mitigate those costs with a range of different actions in terms of addressing that cost base. And so far, we have been quite successful in keeping that stable, but we'll have to see how the whole thing develops during the course of the year. But that is something that we believe will have an impact overall in terms of the increasing costs. Whether that means we need to increase prices is something that we are seeing. We also have to be aware as a company the overall economic environment, and to what extent, when we take a look at our client base, to what extent they are also able to cope in this difficult environment with these changes and with the level of inflation that we are seeing. There, as a company, we will take a realistic approach. We will see what extent price increases are really necessary and in what segments, and we will take a pragmatic step-by-step decision. But our intention is not to go with an across-the-board increase in prices at this stage, because this, we believe, will also have an impact on our customers, and we try to maintain a fair balance between the situation our customers are facing, between the situation we face as an increase of costs, and we try to take a pragmatic approach here.
But if you look at the market in general, do you think that the competition, for example, will choose to increase? We will see an increase in prices in general, or they will remain more or less the same? Or
I would expect that there would have to be an increase in prices in general. Depending upon the line of business, the percentages might differ, but companies would have to have an increase in prices, because this is anyway coming on top of the overall claim situation in the market, and the overall claim situation in the market continues to be quite high. And from that perspective, if companies want to maintain let's say a certain financial strength, and also to go back into the path of into profitability, at least across the market, they would have to have an increase in prices during the course of the year, especially on the non-life side.
going to the most important segment on the Romanian insurance market, the motor insurance segment, which represents more than 60% of the market. How profitable is this segment? Can you comment on the claims ratio? Is it higher or in this period?
For us, the claim situation seems to be is quite stable. But that is also due to the fact that in the past years and months, we have taken quite some actions from our side to keep a control on the overall claim situation. We don't see any dramatic increase in the claims overall on the motor side. Though I must add, with a word of caution over here, we do see a tendency of increase on the MTPL side, because there is also an increase in the moral damages towards the European levels. That's basically an inevitability as Romania becomes more and more closely integrated to the European community. On the MTPL side, the levels of those claims might increase. The frequency will still be at a stable level, but those claims increase on the MTPL should be expected. We see some trends in that regard. But overall, from a company perspective, because of all the initiatives that we have taken in the market, we have been quite stable with our claims. There is even some improvement in some of the segments where we have taken the necessary action with our pricing together with claims. And for us, we are fairly placed in the market today on the motor segment, I would say.
What about restructuring plans on the portfolio? Do you think that, or is the portfolio going to look somehow different in the next period? Less motor insurance, more household or life?
Well, overall, I think it is very healthy from a market perspective, and I think it really comes with the natural development of a market, that as the market matures, the other lines of business grow together with the market. So there has to be more dominance of provisioning, as we say, together with the life business, as clients put aside more of their resources into preparing for their future. They go into life. Also, as the assets are acquired by the clients with increasing wealth, they need to protect those assets, including household, including other assets. Also, classes of business like liability become more prominent. So I think as part of any natural development, there should be a growth in the other lines of business. And we would hope from our own efforts and actions, and we have been taking quite some efforts and actions to develop these other lines of business to have a more diversified portfolio, and that's going to be a part of the process, for sure.
Going to mandatory household insurance. Now we have PIDE. It is active. It's starting selling the mandatory household insurance, and Allianz is not part of PIDE yet. What are your strategies regarding this aspect? Are you intending to be a member of PIDE in a few months, or it's not in the plans yet?
Well, as a matter of principle, I think Allianz as a company is very supportive of the whole effort of organizing an insurance mechanism to support the people who are exposed to catastrophic risks. And we are aware, and we have a lot of experts who have been working in terms of our building up our own, let's say, information base in terms of the risks which are faced by the Romanian people in terms of earthquake. We have also seen this year from the floods which parts of the country were exposed to, and also the financial losses that were suffered. There are some real natural catastrophe risks which the population is exposed to, and from our perspective, this is an essential part of really the development of the country and the economy. However, when it came down to a decision to invest in PIDE, we took a look at all the aspects of the whole scheme and the program. For us, we did our own catastrophic modeling. We are a company which is really firmly believing in having risk-based pricing. That is also one of the key elements when we go into Solvency II in terms of how are, let's say, the risks which are taken up by the company, how well are they priced, and how well we protect our let's say, financial situation, either using reinsurance or any other means. And that for us is a key element of deciding to do any particular line of business. And we discussed this together when PIDE was launched. We also had to, of course, present the case together to our shareholders at the end, because investing any amount of capital into a public company, we have to have a common understanding together with our shareholders. And as part of our discussions, we had a look at all the different aspects, and for us it was a difficult business case to justify given the current construction. And we, of course, would hope, and we made our recommendations in terms of how the whole structure can be further enhanced, which would make it more, let's say, viable for us to participate as part of the shareholding structure of PIDE. We would hope that some of these recommendations are taken up going forward. And if they are taken up, we would then be willing to reconsider our participation with regard to PIDE, for sure.
Now, coming to the end of the interview, as a last question, what would be your message for the Romanian insurance market?
Well, I think one of the key elements for the development of the market always is the credibility of the market. And I think as an industry, I think all of us, all the players, have an obligation to really build up and further develop the credibility of the overall financial sector in the country. We have to be honest, I think the financial crisis had a certain impact on the credibility of the industry, and that is something that we have to work together to recover and reinstate in the minds of the people. And a lot of the credibility is built up by the financial strength of the companies which participate in the market. Allianz, I think, in the crisis across the world has shown that we were a company which could withstand the crisis and even come out stronger on the basis of our financial strength. And this financial strength builds up the trust of our clients, also builds up credibility. And lays down the foundation for further development of the industry. And I think as an industry together, we have to aspire for these values, work together, because this is something that is in the long run going to support the development of this industry in Romania, which in my view has a very positive outlook.